So I haven't done a video in a while, and I figured I'd kind of comment on some of the stuff that's going on. As far as the Morgan Wallen thing goes, I really don't understand why they're giving the guy such a hard time. I realize he may have said something out of turn, but I think we all have. I'm from around the parts in this, central Missouri or whatever, where if you know the guy well enough, you can say something like that, and it doesn't make it necessarily right, but neither does pulling his record labels and stuff like that. We have a freedom of speech, and I agree with these two brothers that were talking over it and saying, there's a lot of African American people that use that saying way too often for them to just play it off like it's bad for us. But another thing I wanted to comment on is I really liked Ryan Upchurch's stance on all of it. And it was fought over the succession of the Union, and if you don't know your history, it's not anybody else's fault for what they choose to do or what they choose to display. Listen, Americans get way too offended over everything anymore. If you want to throw a Black Lives Matter in your yard, whatever. I don't have a problem with it. But you can't get mad at me for throwing a rebel flag in my yard. That's history. You can take away all of our statues. You can do everything that you want to. But the fact of the matter is that it's not just my history, not just white folks' history, black folks' history. It's all of our history that we have to learn from. So if you take it away, then how are we going to learn from it? How are kids going to know? And another thing, quit teaching white and black kids to hate each other in history due to what happened in the past. Do you guys have no forgiveness of anything or any conception that most slave owners, especially in my favorite chew right here, which is no way affiliated with anything that I do, but freaking great stuff. Luke Bryan, sorry, my bad. Luke didn't do that. No, it was Luke Combs coming out and saying he was sorry for the fact that he used to wear rebel flags. Are you kidding me? You're a country singer. That's literally the epitome. I grew up where we weren't allowed to drive our trucks into the high school parking lot with rebel flags on it. So we would take and park it across the road just to be able to, show them off. And it wasn't a hate symbol. It was a kind of a disregarding authority symbol. You know what I mean? Just kind of like Black Lives Matter. Disregards authority. And it's kind of an old, like the Duke boys. The Duke boys not ever were racist. You know what I mean? And the Confederate flag isn't racist anyways. It was never flown on a plantation. It was a Kentucky battle flag. And if you want to know the truth, the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. Most slave owners in the northern states, they worked alongside their slaves in the same conditions. Now, I'm not saying that owning a person is ever right, but what I am saying is that if you want to know who's behind all this, it's not the Confederate flag, it's the Democrats. They started out, the old KKK was a bunch of old Democrat war heroes from the Civil War. So, there's your hate group. But anyways, long story short, Morgan Wallen slipped up, but leave him alone. Who cares? Luke Combs, I'm probably going to stop listening to anything that you've got to say music-wise, which really sucks because you're a great artist, but I won't support somebody that doesn't stand up for what all of us good old boys are. Ryan Upchurch, you'll always be forever the most outspoken, great dude that I really do think a lot about you. Think you're a great guy and think that you speak up for us good old boys. This country's going in a really rough shape, guys. Dude, we got to bond together. We're getting ready to fight a war against a government, and I'm not saying this in a sense of that I would ever do anything, but I'm saying that you look at the way things are falling economically, there's going to be something happen. So we need to quit being divided. Before I go, I think back to one of the stories that I know very well, which is when I was about 18, I worked out at the factory. And I had been raised in kind of a, just say a white household, not around too many colored folks. or black folks, African American folks, whatever you prefer. None of this is in any way, shape, or form to offend you, but it's the way we talk around. Well, anyway, this dude's name is Killer, and I'm working out there at night, and I don't have any money for food, and he taught me. He said, "Pink, black, or yellow, we're all brothers." And this man would take food out of his lunchbox, like a pork chop or whatever, and heat it up just so I would eat. And it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why does he care about me? And the truth of the matter is, it don't matter whether you're black, white, wear a Confederate flag, wear a Black Lives Matter flag, whatever it is. You can believe whatever you want. But if you're a crappy person, it's not that your opinion doesn't matter. It's that people will never validate it because anybody's life matters, dude. It don't matter whether it's wrapped in Confederate flags or whatever. Everybody's life matters. Everybody's important. So that's just my thoughts on this. And if you like this, hit that subscribe button. And yep.